Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the civil war taking place inside the former state of Ethiopia. And first, what I wanted to cover before we talk about ongoing fighting that is taking place inside the former state of Ethiopia, the question is this, if you are a dictator, how do you know you are a dictator? How do you know when you are an effective despot, tyrant? Well, I'll tell you. When you become an effective despot, an effective tyrant, you have the ability, as an effective despot, as an effective tyrant, to do the following. When your country is in a state of civil war, when your economy is suffering from hyperinflation, when your economy is spiraling into the abyss, when you're a despot, you then, while that is going on, while your economy is failing, you have the ability to build yourself a billion-dollar palace in your capital, a brand new billion-dollar palace. That's how you know you're an effective tyrant. When you're an effective tyrant, you have the ability to destroy other people's houses by declaring that they had invalid housing permits, destroy those homes, and then put yourself up a billion-dollar palace. That is when you know you are an effective tyrant. I got to hand it to Abiy Ahmed, for he is an effective tyrant. Only an effective tyrant could destroy other people's houses while your economy is collapsing to build yourself a multi-million, billion-dollar new palace. Look, if you're a tyrant, you got to have palaces, right? Saddam Hussein had many palaces. Other tyrants, such as the little fat man in North Korea, he has palaces. So Abiy Ahmed must have palaces as well. So he's building multiple palaces. Interesting. That's an effective tyrant. In other news, the Oromo Liberation Army, while Abiy Ahmed is spending millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars on new palaces and tearing down people's houses in Addis Ababa, also known as Fenfene, the Oromo Liberation Army is overrunning Abiy loyalist forces in central and western Oromia. More and more towns are falling in western Oromia, in central Oromia, to the Oromia Liberation Army. I wonder if the OLA finally gets into Addis Ababa, also known as Fenfene. I wonder if they'll pay a visit to some of these palaces. Maybe they will house some of their forces inside of these new palaces that Abiy Ahmed is building. Because after all, he's an effective tyrant. But for how long? The area is in yellow. We have gotten updates. And again, the OLA is continuing to take areas, continuing to seize towns and territory, specifically to the west and northwest of the capital, Addis Ababa. Towns such as Mindi, Nejo, and more recently, this town here, Mugai, under the control of the OLA. Again, areas closer to the capital, some within 100 kilometers, 50 kilometers. We have seen units of Abiy loyalist forces surrender to the Oromia Liberation Army. We suspect that these forces are regulars of the former ENDF, Ethiopian National Defense Forces, loyal to Abiy Ahmed. They are wearing the standard uniform as caught on video footage, surrendering to OLA troops. So again, it looks like the OLA is slowly getting closer and closer to the capital, while the effective tyrant Abiy Ahmed continues to build his palaces. You got to have a palace when you're a tyrant. You got to have multiple palaces. So we'll continue to monitor. We'll continue to report on what is happening in Oromia. Additionally, reporting to the north in the Tigray region, we have reports that the Tigrayan Defense Forces indeed handed over so-called heavy weapons. Now, first, what I'd like to say is this in regards to this report that the TDF handed over heavy weapons. So first and foremost, is it possible the TDF handed over some broken down T-55 tanks, some older artillery pieces? Yeah, probably. But the Tigrayan Defense Forces, their most effective weapon system in this conflict could restart at any time as Abiy Ahmed builds his palaces. The most effective weapon system the Tigrayan Defense Forces deployed were fast-moving light infantry forces. Those forces still exist. A few T-55 tanks, a few towed artillery pieces are not going to decide the fate of the Tigray region. At any point, we could see the TDF remobilize. It still is mobilized. It has not demobilized. But again, the most effective weapon system that we've seen in this conflict were those fast-moving light infantry formations operating in the hills and valleys of the Tigray region. So I think at this point, a lot of what could happen in the Tigray region now depends on what happens elsewhere in the former state of Ethiopia. And again, things are not going well for Abiy loyalist forces. Again, areas in yellow controlled by the OLA, areas in red possibly controlled by Abiy loyalist forces. We believe at this point the OLA numbers tens of thousands, with more and more supporters, more and more towns and villages in central and western Oromia allying with the OLA. So again, we'll continue to monitor, we'll continue to report. Thank you for joining us today. More to come very, very soon. Have a good day.